What's up guys, in this video find out how to lose fat in the new year. Lose fat whatever time of year it is, these tips are relevant all year round. So stay tuned to take advantage of my 17 years worth of experience in the fitness industry, learn what you need to do to be lean and how to be in good shape. We all know training and nutrition are key in order to achieve a great shape. What most people fail to realise is how important sleep, rest and recovery is. Find out why. So in this video you'll get my top training tip for fat loss, my top nutrition tip for fat loss, and my top rest and recovery tip for fat loss. My top training tip, which I make sure all my clients do whether they're training for fat loss or not, is in some form or another, strength train. When you hear the word strength training, you may come up with your own image of what that means. There are many forms of strength training and all it really means is working against the resistance, whether that's bodyweight training, heavy weightlifting or more lighter weight circuit based sessions. It's all relative. In order for it to be strength training though, it has to be at the right intensity. The best way to think about it is time under tension. That's the amount of time the muscles are working for during any set. For it to be classed as strength training, it needs to be under a minute or at the very most 90 seconds. For true strength training, then you have to work under 30 seconds. But obviously it's not as simple as that. You need to work sufficiently to stress that energy system. So what that means is you need to reach fatigue within that rep range or within that time. So if you grab a weight that you can lift hundreds of times and you just do 20 reps, then that's not going to come into the strength training bracket. You need to select a weight which will get you to failure within that time frame. So the bodyweight stuff I do and the calisthenics work I do with myself and with clients, which I've been doing outside quite a lot during this time, I would consider strength training work. Yeah, the first one is better, wasn't it? The best type of strength training to do would be anything that requires big movements and big muscles. So bicep curls are okay because they're stressing the muscle, but you'll get more bang for your buck when you include bigger movements. Plus you'll get more release of the good hormones, testosterone, growth hormone, etc., which will help to burn fat. We'll come on to that a little bit later on. So the classic movements are hard to beat, things like squats, lunges, bent over row, deadlifts, they'll all work a treat. Plus when you do this type of training, you'll also get an afterburn effect, which means you're burning calories after the workout because you're having to maintain those muscles that you just worked. So good functioning muscles will increase your metabolism. So not only do we need to maintain our muscles with the right training, we need to do it with the right food. The analogy that helped me in my early days was to think of muscles as inbuilt fat burners. Those muscles will be like a flame burning fat, but to keep the flame burning we need the right fuel and we need it regularly. This is why starving yourself doesn't work. The flame goes out and then you'll fail to burn. Keep your muscles active, keep your muscles fed, the flame continues to blaze, the fat continues to burn. Our bodies can store fat for long periods of time, so if you restrict your calories too much, then the body goes into starvation mode and it stores the fat because it might need it at a later point. Our fat is basically potential energy for the body to use if and when it needs it. So we need to let the body know that we don't need to store the fat and we can use it as energy. We're not going to starve. If you're not getting enough calories from your food, the body will store the fat and it gets the energy then from your muscles, which is a lose-lose because we're losing muscles and we're also losing our potential fat burners. Okay, but what is my actual tip for nutrition? Basically what that means is, and to put it into more positive context, eat natural. Think about where your food comes from. The majority of what you eat should come from food that has had less done to it. I always say you can't go far wrong with meat and veg. If you're vegan, that's fine, but try to be aware of the protein content you take in. We need enough protein to keep those all-important muscles functioning well and to keep burning fat. Processed foods contain more sugar, more salt, more chemicals, and higher GI, which in turn will lead to more stress placed on the digestive system and or negatively affect the insulin-glucagon balance, which will lead to more food being stored as fat. Something most people tend to overlook when it comes to fat loss is the endocrine system, or in other words, hormones. And this is what links my 3 tips together and what most people fail to consider. If you train right, get the right nutrition and get the right sleep, rest and recovery, then hormones are in good balance. Well-balanced hormones means we can burn more fat for energy and we won't need to store as much. If they're not well-balanced, well, that's just not good at all, is it? Too much cortisol in our system can lead to fat storage, especially around the midsection. Getting adequate sleep will reduce cortisol levels, but what can we do to help this? Well, the answer comes largely in the form of sunlight. Our wake-sleep cycles are designed to work in harmony with natural sunlight, so we would do best to adhere to those natural rhythms. Imagine, if you will, what life may have been like as an early human. Go to sleep somewhere safe in the dark, wake up with the sunlight. First thing you need is food to survive. So in the morning when you're freshest, you would go out to find food or to hunt. Cortisol levels peak in the morning because that is when we would have needed it most. Cortisol is a stress hormone which can be very useful. It's the flight or fight hormone. Flight or fight? Fight or flight. So in dangerous situations, it can keep us alive. Nowadays, thankfully, we don't have too many fight or flight moments, but we can still make the most of our cortisol when it spikes. Being productive in the morning, or as some people like to do, is have a morning workout. The problem is for lots of people is their cortisol levels are out of sync. They don't get a good night's sleep, the cortisol levels don't peak and then decline as they should do. Instead, they stay elevated throughout most of the day. Too much stress, too much exposure to unnatural light, which doesn't allow for our natural circadian rhythm, which can lead to chronic fatigue, and it can also lead to excess body fat storage. So my tip for sleep, rest and recovery is make sure you get enough. Try to follow the natural pattern. Wake up with the sun if you can. Get sunlight in the day if you can. Be more active in the early part of the day. If you do exercise, make sure you have rest days. Try to relax and unwind as the day progresses. Dim lights. Stop scrolling at least 30 minutes before bed. Read. So it's all about balance. Do the right exercise to get those good hormones released and start building your own fat burning machines. Eat right to ensure your body can get the energy it needs and the necessary nutrients to sustain life and aid recovery, and get enough recovery and get enough sleep. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video was useful. Leave down in the comments what you think you need to work on most, and let me know if there's something that's worked for you that I've left out. If you need to make big changes, remember to do it gradually. The more you can implement this stuff into your everyday life, the more sustainable and the more chance you will have at maintaining it for the long term. If you need any more tips or advice, then you can message me separately. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. Take care.